6:42, it's back to work for the Saints after their full week off, the bye week. The Saints will begin their preps for Sunday's game against the terrible Atlanta Falcons this year. They have lost all their games except for one. Joining us now to talk about the state of the Saints, who have won all their games except for one, is Ralph Malbrough, WWLTV.com sports columnist and the host of this what is your podcast again?
Saints Happy Hour podcast.
Now, do you broadcast right from your mom's kitchen there in Houston?
We do. Every Monday night at 9 o'clock, Eric.
All right. And you're a New Orleans native. We should mention that to people. And you love the Saints. You're a Saints. You're probably one of the Saints super fans.
I'll be at the Saints-Falcons game Sunday. I hope the new airport is open and functioning. So, because I'm flying in day of the game, so I got to land, get to the game, and then get home. So, you know, I come to about 5 or 6 games a year.
Well, and you know, the Atlanta game is always, or the two games are always huge rivalries in this town and Atlanta, but Atlanta's terrible this year.
Atlanta's bad. It'll be hard for the Saints to humiliate the Falcons any more than they humiliate themselves.
Well, they're so used to it by now.
The way they play every Sunday. The thing to never forget about the Falcons, Eric, is they blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl, and no matter what happens Sunday, they can never, ever live that down.
Well, they can't live down this season so far.
It's terrible. It's great. The only question I have, I don't have a question if the Saints are going to win Sunday. The only question I have is
by how much?
The Falcons coach, Dan Quinn, is he still going to be employed on Monday morning? That's my only question about Sunday.
Well, they might as well keep him for the rest of the season, you know? I mean, it couldn't get any
worse.
Well,
no, I mean, it would be fun to see the Saints just humiliate Atlanta just a little bit more.
And now the Saints are so dominant in our division. I mean, I did watch the Panthers yesterday. They looked fairly impressive.
The Panthers look good, but for the first time, Eric, and really since Sean Payton's been there, the NFC South is terrible.
Yeah.
And the Saints get the privilege like the Patriots do, where they play in the AFC East, and it's all just like college teams and junior varsity. The Saints finally have that in the NFC South, where they just get to romp through a bunch of terrible teams. So that's nice. That's really great. The thing that's really interesting to me, Eric, is as you look at the Saints in the second half, the obvious answer is, what's the biggest surprise, right? We always think, well, it's Teddy Bridgewater, the Saints going undefeated with Drew Brees. But to me, the biggest surprise of the Saints' first half of the year has been Michael Thomas is this unstoppable force. And we knew he was great, right? But the thing is, we always thought at least part of his success was the fact that he had a Hall of Fame quarterback and Drew Brees throwing him the ball. But he catches the ball whether it's Teddy. He's been dominant whether it's Brees. He's been dominant when the opposing team knows he's the only healthy receiver the Saints have. And it's just been remarkable. And I'm going to tell you, Eric, if he stays on pace to break the catch record and the Saints have the best record in the NFL, Michael Thomas is going to get in talk for the MVP, which it's amazing to me at the halfway point of the season, we talk about Michael Thomas, and the guy the Saints gave $100 million to, we talk about him as being underpaid. It's just incredible.
Well, you know what's funny? A lot of times, we've been showing film of Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill, not Michael Thomas, but a lot of times when guys get huge contracts, they don't live up to them. He's surpassed it.
He's surpassed it. It's just the most remarkable thing to me, Eric, is against Chicago and against Arizona, the Saints would have third downs and 8 or 10, and everybody in the stadium would be like, they're going to throw to Michael Thomas, and he gets wide open. How is this possible that the opposing team can't seem to slow him down even at all? But you know, the Saints, the second half, they need people to get healthy. They'll get Kamara back. They'll get Ted Ginn. You know, they'll have Ted Ginn. They'll have Taysom Hill. And I tell you what, one of the underrated things with the Saints going on is with Teddy Bridgewater back and with Drew Brees back and Teddy Bridgewater returning to be a backup quarterback, Taysom Hill, the Saints can use him more because when he was the backup, you know, when he was the backup quarterback, Sean Payton said, look, I can't use him to do a bunch of things on offense because he's the backup quarterback, and if he gets hurt covering a punt or catching a pass, we don't have a backup quarterback, so I've got to protect him, and so he's back. So that's like adding another player.
We're out of time, Ralph, but give me a score for Sunday's game.
28-3, Eric. That's the score for every Atlanta game.
I was thinking like 48-3, but I'm just greedy. All right, thanks very much. Sunday, the Saints will take on the Atlanta Falcons. They're also on a bye week, and they have a record of 1-7 right now. We are 7-1. The game is at noon at the Superdome, and you can get all